I'm joined by Colin McIntosh, the founder and CEO of Sheets and Giggles. Thank you very much for joining me, Colin.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm happy to be on the pod.
Thank you. And where are you taking this call from? You got some Sheets and Giggles boxes behind you?
It's just the office is pretty nondescript. I won't move my camera around too much because there's whiteboards and boxes and all sorts of other garbage all around me. But it's I managed to clear out a little rectangle section to keep it clean.
Perfect. Well, it looks great. And
yeah,
your
the office is in Denver, Colorado. Yeah.
Nice. Curious to know, just going to Sheets and Giggles. I'm a huge fan of puns. That's like kind of my thing. A lot of my friends know me for that. So I'm wanting to know how many Sheets and Giggles puns Sheets puns do you make a day still?
A day? Probably down to like 4 or 5.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. When I first started, I was out of control. But yeah, right now, I mean, it depends on how much content we're doing. So it's interesting. I think the brand name is extremely powerful the first time you hear it. And then generally speaking, I try to only say it, maybe I only call it S&G from then is a better way to describe it. I actually don't say it at all after that. You see it on our website basically one time. It's on our homepage and our logo up top. And then after that, it's S&G everywhere. And it's a very good attention grabber, very good initial introduction to the brand. But I think that it kind of loses power. And the same goes for the puns. Is we might send an email out that says tonight sheet hits the fan for doing some type of sale, or we'll say we made this for you, Eucalyptus. So we do a lot of bad puns.
Those are the best.
Sometimes they're poorly, we say poorly executed. But we're pretty bed serious over here. So we, sorry, I can't.
Oh man,
that's why I gotta say S&G. Otherwise, I just make myself laugh. So yeah, we got a lot of puns in the hopper.
Well, that's great. You're dad joke ready.
I actually started the company partially because I bought the domain years ago when I was just thinking about funny puns for a bedsheets company, which is a weird thing to think about. But I actually own a lot of pun-based domains. So I got
That's
a few other ones.
Hobby.
If anyone wants if you're thinking of a product company and you're like, I wonder if there's a pun for this company idea that I have a domain, a .com that I would happily give to you. So.
Great. I will start investigating.
Yeah.
Search within.
Yeah. I think my favorite one is sunglasses half full. I really like that. Sunglasseshalffull.com.
Nice.
Yeah. A few other really good ones, but that's
man, we'll have to geek out on puns. I've started creating a book of puns. That's just something I do on the side. A book of puns? Yeah, just like
Punology, Pun01.
I actually call it's Daniel's secret stash of pornography.
Okay, that's good too. That's really good.
Yeah, that's.
Oh man, well, it's nice to find a fellow play on words aficionado.
Yeah, so. You're the only one that can talk about it for more than like 15 seconds.
It's people.
I've never met anyone else.
we always say if you like puns, sleeping, and sustainability, potentially even in that order, Sheets and Giggles is the best brand for you.
Excellent. Well, I think that's a great intro. So I was reading on your website and I was absolutely shocked to read about how much water is needed to produce a kilo of cotton. So it's crazy. It's 20,000 liters. And that's
for a kilo,
and a kilo of cotton, because I don't really understand what a kilo of cotton means, but it says that's basically like one t-shirt or a pair of jeans.
It just depends on the fabric use and what it's using for. But basically, so a t-shirt, generally speaking, ballpark, is going to use about 2,500 liters for the production of like a single medium-sized t-shirt. Wow. And then for a set of bed sheets, you're talking about 4,000 liters or more for a bed sheet. And so cotton's extremely water thirsty. And then in comparison, our sheets are made from Eucalyptus Lyocell, which is a sustainable fabric made from eucalyptus trees. And so our sheets use about 150 liters of water in comparison. So it's a massive reduction. It saves almost 4,000 liters. It's almost the entire thing.
That's a sheet ton.
It's a sheet ton. And it's a,
No more for me.
for the Americans listening, that's about 1,000 gallons per sheet set is what we estimate.
Yeah.
We save up to versus cotton, typical cotton sheets. And so, we've sold now tens of thousands of units. So 1,000 gallons is actually about 5 years worth of the average person's drinking water.
Craziness.
And so, yeah, you drink about a half gallon a day. And so, that means that we've saved hundreds of thousands of years of fresh drinking water for people in that production. So it's really great because, I mean,
Yeah.
if you watch some of the documentaries on how much water we're using as a society, as we, go from 7 billion to 8 billion people now. The problem with water is that it's a finite resource, right? There's only so much you can use at any one given point in time. And so I think that people don't understand how much water just goes into the production of their everyday, apparel, home textiles,
Yeah.
and a lot of other categories as well. I mean, it's not, talking about almonds, you talking about all sorts of different things that just use a mess of water. So that's the biggest, I think, thing with us in terms of sustainability is the water. The other piece, of course, is that our eucalyptus trees don't require any insecticides or pesticides.
Right. And that's because they're
naturally repellent. Yeah. And
okay.
and so basically our sheets end up using zero insecticides, zero pesticides to make, whereas cotton by itself as a crop is going to use anywhere from, most estimates, 16 to 24% of the world's insecticides just by itself.
Crazy.
It's crazy. It's crazy.
Yeah.
And it only uses about 2.5% of the world's arable land. So it's actually a really big ratio in terms of the insecticide use per acreage, just compared to other crops. Bugs love cotton. So
it's tasty, I guess. Yeah. So arable land is like land where you can grow stuff.
Exactly. Yeah, we can grow crops. Yeah,
corn,
exactly.
soybeans.
Whereas eucalyptus trees, they can grow on non-arable land, and so generally speaking, the farms that we use, they're not fertile farmland where you'd want to grow crops.
Yeah.
They're more biodiverse farms that you grow spruce, pine, beech, eucalyptus trees, all sorts of different plants, and then we harvest and branch the trees from those farms, and so it's a much more sustainable process. It's also one of the things I love about it is that we plant 2 new trees for every one that we harvest every time we harvest a new tree. And then also for every order that we get, we plant a new tree somewhere in the United States that needs reforestation, frequently right here in Colorado, because we have a lot of forest fires out here. But California, Colorado, and Florida are the 3 states where we plant a lot of trees in areas that have been deforested from wildfires.
That's amazing. So the 2 trees that you plant every time there's so much to talk about.
Yes.
The 2 trees that you plant and that tree that you plant when someone buys, those are all based in somewhere in the U.S.
So the two trees that we plant when we harvest the tree, that's for our raw fiber production for the eucalyptus fiber.
So you replace that?
We replaced it with 2 trees.
Okay,
exactly. So it's more of investing in the future. And those are, we rotate our farms. So we have farms that we work with based in Canada, Sweden, South Africa, India.
Wow.
And so, that's just something that we do to invest and make sure that we always have raw materials.
Yeah. Awesome.
And then in terms of the tree that we plant per order, that's something that we actually do via a really fantastic organization called One Tree Planted. Shout out to them. And so basically at the end of every calendar year, we calculate the amount of orders that we've sold. We pull together a big donation, and then we actually will donate, tens of thousands of dollars to these organizations.
Amazing.
And that allows them to plant, tens of thousands of trees based on our last year's order history. So it's actually something that I was just talking to somebody about the other day. The way that we set things up from the get-go at the company was it's interesting. I feel like it's kind of cliche to say, like, sustainability is in our DNA, like it's what we're all about, whatever it is. The way that I think about it is it's baked into our variable cost structure. So basically we do good things for the earth and good things for other human beings if we are successful as a company, and that's just baked into how we structure every sale. So, we donate 1% of our profits, and actually ends up being about 1% of our revenue to local Colorado charities.
Nice.
We donate a bunch of bed sheets and blankets to homeless shelters in the Denver area. I've lost track of how many donations that's been. Our customers will donate their sheet sets for 10% off a future order, which is both a marketing function, and it distributes blankets and sheets to homeless shelters around the country.
Yeah.
Plant the tree.
Divert stuff from landfill as well.
Exactly. 10 million tons of textiles get tossed away in the U.S. every year. A lot of that is also non-biodegradable, like synthetics, like a polyester, microfiber. And so, the other thing about our sheets is that because they're made from eucalyptus trees, they're just it's called cellulosic rayon. So rayon fabric from cellulose plants.
Okay.
And so basically, it's very similar to bamboo viscose for people that are familiar with that, but it's actually more sustainable than bamboo production, because with bamboo viscose production, you actually wind up getting a decent amount of runoff associated with the process, because they can't reuse the solvents that they use to break the wood down into a pulp in each batch of pulp production. Whereas with the Eucalyptus Lyocell, it's the third generation of this process. Modal is the second generation, and Lyocell is the third. And so with the Eucalyptus Lyocell versus the bamboo viscose, you're able to reuse the solvents in every single batch. So it's just wood in, pulp out, wood in, pulp out. And you reuse about 99.5% of the chemicals in every batch of lyocell fiber. And so it's generally considered the most sustainable fabric in the world. Saves water, saves energy, saves insecticides, pesticides, biodegrades in 9 weeks. Once it's placed into a landfill, doesn't leave a trace. No microplastics run off like you do have with polyester sheets or microfiber sheets. And it's, aside from the sustainability, it's funny, I know sustainability podcasts are talking about it. We very rarely lead with the sustainability, because I have just a theory that Americans are fairly selfish consumers. I'm one of them. I'm an American and proud of it. Not as proud as I used to be, but still proud. And so, one of the things that I really, to my bones, believe is that if you have the most sustainable product in the world, nobody's going to buy it if it's not a fantastic product. And so that's also one of the benefits of the Eucalyptus Lyocell, is that it's incredibly soft, incredibly smooth. It feels like silk. And it's actually going to be more breathable, softer, lighter than a cotton sheet, or even than a bamboo sheet. So it's really fantastic for hot sleepers as well. And zero static, hypoallergenic, the whole nine.
And it's like noticeably softer, or you have to kind of pay attention?
It's literally softer. It literally has a lower coefficient of friction.
Wow.
So it actually has a lower surface friction than cotton. So we have a 400 thread count sheet that we sell. And that's going to feel like a much higher, probably like closer to a 800 or so thread count cotton. And just in terms of the comparable smoothness, thread count is threads per square inch. So the amount of threads that cross in a square inch of fabric. And so what that allows us to do is it allows us to have an incredibly smooth, soft, silky feel to the sheets. That is just super luxurious. I mean, I do I do bed angels before I go to bed every night. They're fantastic. But also we can do a lower
part of product testing,
like a 400, and we're able to have that hand while still still having incredible breathability from the slightly lower thread count.
Wow, that's really cool. So the trees, because you've said the word harvested, you're actually, I mean, for lack of a better word, you're cutting them down and using the.
You can also branch them, so you don't necessarily have to harvest the whole tree. You can also branch, and so
they regrow the branches after.
Exactly. Yeah. So and like I said, we will plant a new tree every time that one actually does get harvested. 2 new trees actually, and then that way you're ensuring that one will grow to adulthood. And so so it's an incredibly renewable, sustainable resource. It's just a really fantastic process. And then overall it ends up having the tremendous water savings, pesticide, insecticide savings, and arable land savings, energy savings in terms of kilowattage. So
you said about how with bamboo you were talking about runoff, but eucalyptus doesn't have that. So the lyocell, that's I'm not quite sure what that is. So that's like
it's rayon. So when people say Sorry, I shouldn't. If you want
Yeah,
to.
well, I don't really know what rayon is either. So I'm
Okay,
just
so
trying to like picture the process, I guess.
yeah, so a lot of people when they hear rayon, they
Yeah.
think synthetic
Okay.
because it sounds synthetic, and technically the U.S.
Yeah.
government classifies it as a man-made fabric
Mhm.
because bamboo doesn't grow on the ground as a fluffy fiber like
Yeah.
cotton.
Right. Oh, I see. Yeah.
Modal, if you've heard of modal, that's made a
Mm.
lot from mixed woods like beechwood, spruce, pine. That doesn't grow on the ground as a fluffy fiber, so it's man-made.
And
And
these are all like
these are
textiles.
so viscose, modal, and lyocell are the three generations of what's called cellulosic rayon. So cellulosic rayon, plant-based fabric. And
Got it.
so basically, viscose is kind of the first generation of the process. It's older technology. And so they'll take bamboo wood, put it in this big batch of solvents. Out comes this pulp. They dry the pulp, turns into a fiber. The fiber gets turned to a yarn. The yarn gets turned to a fabric.
Mhm.
Literally identical process in terms of the high level with the modal and with lyocell. But there are different base woods that are used for each process. So bamboo is usually used for viscose, beechwood, spruce wood, and pine is usually used for modal, and eucalyptus
Right.
is usually used for lyocell. And the lyocell is the third generation of this process, and that's why it's the most sustainable. It's why, in my opinion, it yields the best product. It yields the softest product, the most breathable, the most durable product out of these three processes. And so when you hear bamboo sheets or bamboo fabric or bamboo shirts, it's
Mhm.
not bamboo, right? The same way that our sheets are not eucalyptus bark,
Yeah.
just your
Yeah.
wood sheets, but it's describing the base wood used in the rayon development process. So that's kind of a basic introduction to it. It's
Got it.
super interesting, and
Yeah.
when it comes to bamboo viscose, it can be sustainable as long as the runoff from the manufacturer is disposed of properly. So you'd be looking for manufacturers that work with people like ZDHC, which is like Zero Discharge of Hazardous Chemicals,
Mhm.
zdhc.org. Our manufacturing partner is signed up with them. And so, when we make lyocell, there is no runoff associated with the process. But any runoff that there is, any wastewater or anything like that from our process, our plants actually recapture it and run it through a 4-tier reverse osmosis system underneath the plant. And then I actually have a really interesting picture, I think, on one of our blog posts that I wrote a while ago that is
We can pull it up actually.
yeah, I can't remember the which one it is. Probably from sometime in 2018, and basically it shows the before and the after of the water that goes through our factory, where we actually just reuse the water continuously,
Oh, wow.
which also helps with the amount of water that we use and the water savings there.
Let me see if I can find it.
Yeah, it should just be on the blog on
Would it be our
sheetsgiggles.com. Plug for everybody.
yeah, sheetsgiggles.com/blogs. Was that our India trip plus manufacturing?
That's the one. Yeah, there's an image in there. There's actually it's a really fun blog post. I gotta write a new one or make that into its own page because like I love that content that we have there in terms of
Yeah.
pictures and gifs and videos of our
Yeah, it's fun.
manufacturing, what it looks like. And so there's an image, I think somewhere probably halfway down the page of two. I love the step gifs.
Yeah, they're
Uh,
awesome.
yeah. I took all these videos myself.
Oh, wow, look at that
Um,
thing.
it's super cool. It's super, super, super interesting.
Did we
Um,
pass it already?
no, keep going. There it is, right there.
Oh,
So,
wow.
so you can see the before. These are my really bad Photoshop skills. I wrote this blog personally, so this is really terrible Photoshop skills.
That's great.
My
Better
team.
than I would do.
I literally. That's the caption. I literally have
Yeah.
but
Sorry for the
so
bad Photoshop. I did
yeah,
it
exactly.
myself.
Yeah, so this is why a CEO shouldn't touch graphic design. But so on the left you've got kind of what after our sheets are made is the wastewater that's captured from the process. And then the after, and to be clear, this isn't the fiber production. There's no runoff associated with that. This is just the actual manufacturing of the sheets and the sewing. And then basically we capture that wastewater, run it through an osmosis system underneath the plant, and then pump it back into the system. So there's no discharge, no runoff.
Yeah, it's crazy. I mean, the one in the before picture is completely black, and the one in the after is absolutely clear. I mean, it looks like normal drinking water.
Yeah, you could drink it. It's I mean, literally
4 times reverse osmosis is quite a lot.
When I do when I go down home to South Florida, that's what I always learned growing up. My mom probably beat this into me, brainwashed me into thinking this, but apparently where I'm from in South Florida has some of the best drinking water in the country because of our reverse osmosis system. So
okay,
but yeah.
Wow. So what you're saying is that actually because of this reverse osmosis system, you're able to reuse the same water.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
forever.
exactly. Yep. So there's obviously certain amounts of water lost in the process, but we're basically trying to capture as much as possible to our manufacturing practices. One of the things when I was getting going, setting up the company, and meeting with different manufacturing partners was on-site examinations of different facilities and different certifications that different people had, and trying to understand not just in 2017 when I was setting up the company, what was the current certification that I'd be looking for, what the current practices I'd be looking for, but also forward-thinking organizations and people that I wanted to work with on an ethical level in a number of different ways. And so really love our partners in India. They're really fantastic people. We got about I think a 40-person team or so now that works on our sheet production, and we go out there a couple times every quarter or so, and I love getting out there personally. It's a really fun place, and we're actually opening up our first US based manufacturing line this year, later in August, August, September, and that'll be based in Alabama actually. So I'm really, really happy and proud of that. It'll also save me a lot of headaches from a global logistics perspective.
Yeah, and travel.
Yeah, there's always, there's just always certain things when it comes to importing, exporting, especially when you have, I guess, an uncertain trade policy administration. So yeah, it's uncertain times right now for global supply chains. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, without going too far down that.
Yeah, down the political
direction.
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
I'm curious to know, because you work just going back to how the trees are grown, because I'm a huge lover of trees, and I absolutely love forests, and I think it's really cool that you plant 2 for every one that you take down, and also that you plant trees in California, Colorado, and Florida. But you work specifically with a company or organization called Canopy.
Yeah, so that's actually who our manufacturing partner works with in terms of managing the farms. They're a really interesting organization.
And what do they do?
So they've got different tenets that they make sure that their partners don't do any harm towards natural environments or people that live in the areas where they grow their trees. It's well documented how in the 1800s there were eucalyptus trees became extremely popular for I would say people in, I was going to say poor people in Latin America and in Portugal and in other places where the government incentivized basically growing your own eucalyptus trees, and then they would be giving a bounty for them. Yeah, it was really basically for the paper industry. It was a huge explosion in eucalyptus farming in the 1800s and 1900s. And unfortunately, it wasn't done in a controlled manner. And so what ended up happening was a lot of eucalyptus ended up being an invasive species in a lot of these places. And so
you see tons of that in California.
Tons, everywhere. Yeah, exactly. In California,
there's like eucalyptus forests in certain parts of California.
We get a lot of requests for, once we do open up our American supply chain, if we can use invasive eucalyptus as a base wood. It would be a little hard in terms of quality control,
Right.
But it's definitely something that I would say is a long-term goal of the company to
Yeah,
do.
that'd be really cool if you could take out the
Super
invasive
cool.
species and then plant 2 trees of like local native
It'd be
species.
incredible. It'd be the coolest thing ever if we could do that. Probably within a number of years.
Oh
But
man.
yeah, so Canopy is really great. They make sure that basically they say protecting forests from the forest industry.
That's funny.
And yeah, it's basically making sure the farms are biodiverse, that there's no child labor used, that there's no that there's no taking advantage of local people in terms of working the farms. That there's, we're
Yeah.
talking about farms in Canada and Sweden and South Africa and India and other places. And so it's basically just a check to make sure that our raw materials are farmed and harvested in the most ethical way
Hmm.
possible. And so working with NGOs like Canopy as our manufacturing partner ensures that for us.
Yeah, that's awesome. And it's really cool that they're focusing on biodiversity because I mean, if you're going to be planting all these
Yeah,
trees, you might as
exactly.
well
Yeah.
like do a lot of good for that
Yeah,
part of
we're
the
not. I
land.
mean, it's not like we're the only, we're the only customer of these farms. They're also
Yeah.
growing all sorts of different types of wood, and so, yeah. But they're a really great organization. And then we also work with other organizations that we donate to and that we work with. We just made a big donation. We don't harvest any trees from Australia, obviously. But
Mm.
we don't touch any endangered or ancient forests whatsoever.
Yeah, that's
Um,
awesome.
yeah, but obviously wildfires in Australia were
Yeah.
enormous, huge hot button this year, and something that was really devastating. I think over half a billion animals died.
Yeah.
Last time I checked the number, it
Yeah.
was
There was a
awful.
billion. They were saying a billion at one point.
It's just and so basically what we did was we normally don't do a Black Friday sale. We have what's called Purple Friday, where the week before Black Friday,
Oh, cool.
we'll do our biggest sale of the year, and basically we just tell people like,
Nice.
yeah, we want to be with our families on Thanksgiving, and don't bother us on on Thanksgiving. And
Yeah.
but this year we actually ended up doing a Black Friday through Cyber Monday sale, and we ended up saying, Joe's, hey, whatever you buy, it's going to be 20% off already. And we did 30% off for Purple Friday. So we were like, it's not as good as sales last week. So, if you missed last week, sorry for you.
Yeah.
But we're also going to donate 20% of all the proceeds to the World Wildlife Fund to help specifically to their koala donation arm. And that goes straight to volunteers and resources on the ground in Australia. I think they estimate that it's something like $50 can treat an injured koala and save a koala's life. Um,
Wow.
and so we ended up raising over that weekend. And we matched the first 5,000
Nice.
that was raised by
Oh
20%
man,
of
that's
our sales.
so generous.
For a third company in its third year, it was definitely a financial outlay.
Yeah.
But it was. I'll tell you what. When I wrote, we ended up wiring 17 grand to
Amazing.
the World Wildlife Fund, and they're not like an official partner of ours or anything. They're just we did a few research on some organizations, and we basically just chose one of the biggest names to make sure that we were sending it somewhere that was going to put the money to good use, and that
Yeah.
had a good history of donating a lot of the dollars that they raise versus going into administrative nonsense. Next donation we do probably go towards different funds, so we can spread that around a little bit. But basically, it felt really, really awesome to donate that both on behalf of our customers, and then also $5,000 straight from the company.
Yeah, that's awesome.
It was really cool, and I feel really happy that we've set the company up to do stuff like that, just as a function of doing business.
Absolutely. That 17,000, I just divided it by 50 on my calculator. That's 340 koalas.
That is awesome. Yeah,
That is
I
so
think
awesome.
we did that math when we emailed the folks who
Yeah.
bought a sheet set or a duvet cover or something else on that weekend. We emailed them, and I think that's exactly what we said. We said over 300 koalas are getting treated right now.
It's amazing. And
Or
they
not
need it
right now,
so
but
badly. Yeah.
yeah, it was. Well, I mean, it was the amount of money that was raised was really tremendous. I'm sure you were following that entire.
Yeah.
It
It was
was
amazing.
it was all. I mean, I'll tell you what, it felt really amazing for us to be in a position to donate that much in such
Hmm.
a short period of time for the company's history.
Yeah.
Um, but at the same time, I was, a little sheepish in terms of the amount, just because people were donating, people donating $1 million checks and that sort of thing. But it's every single donation matters, and I love that they broke it down in terms of $20 does this,
Yeah.
$50 is this, $100 is this. So that way you can kind of see directly where the impact would be of those donations.
Yeah. I think it's a really great way to do it. And I mean, obviously koalas are so closely related to what you do because they love eucalyptus, maybe more than you do.
They're our mascot. So we've got, they're one of our packages. So
I thought Harvey was your mascot.
Harvey is our mascot. I'll call him over in a little bit. Yeah. So you get the koala
Oh yeah, there he is.
on the package. So yeah, we try to make sure that we're putting good karma back into the world, and it's a lot of fun, man. I feel really happy sometimes that I get to do business, and I didn't pay myself for 15 months when I was starting the company, so that
Wow.
was challenging, and working 18-hour days, 7 days a week. And but now I've got a growing full-time team in Denver. We've got people full-time remote in California and Florida. We have our team in India, who is lovely people, and really, and we're actually gonna sponsor somebody this year, bring them over to the States, and hire them
Cool.
full time to work at our company.
Nice.
Um, and yeah, it's been really a dream come true, I guess, in terms of the business, and seeing it grow into what it is now.
Yeah, and you're just getting started. I mean, just 3 years, and like you have
We're
so many plans already.
we're literally in our 17th month of shipping. So we're in our third year, but we only have been we did a crowdfund in May 2018 to get
Yeah.
started. So we're actually really we started shipping in October 2018. So
Hmm.
we're,
Yeah.
but I think, September sales this year were 11x September 2018, and
Wow.
January sales this year were 5x January last year. So,
Nice.
um, yeah, I feel really happy with
Oh
how
man,
things have gone so far.
the best is yet to come.
I hope so. Yeah.
Yeah. Dude, that's really awesome. And I'm just conscious of time here. So one question I love to ask, kind of to inspire me, in addition to everything that you're doing with SNG, and all the donations you're doing and planting trees and everything, what do you do like just personally on a day to day to be environmentally friendly? Just like when you're at home or at the office.
Oh, I actually have like really a couple of things that are not, I would say, like, not like, it's interesting because I think it's a good question. I think a question a lot of people I see online is like, how do I make an impact as like
Yeah,
as a
exactly.
person, or as a consumer? And I think that the latter part of that, as a consumer, is actually, I think, more important than as a person. I mean, we can all shut the water off when we're, I don't shave, but when we're brushing our teeth, or we can all take shorter showers. We can all shut the lights off. And I have like my smart home like routine for when I leave my house. It goes into total, like, low energy mode. Everything shuts off. I have
Yeah.
like, don't the plugs don't draw power and stuff like that. So
Hmm.
small stuff like that I think is important. But it's when you think about the real power that people have is in their mass consumer um, decision purchases. And so,
Yeah.
for example, we don't use an ounce of plastic in our packaging. And that was initially, we did use plastic, and we had a lot of people email us, and we use plastic for very specific reason. We were worried about water damage in transit. From once FedEx picks up a unit at our warehouse, we don't have any
Yeah,
type
that's
of
it.
insight into how that person's treating that package. They're leaving outside in the rain. The porch has a overhang. They drop it off on, whatever it is. And we just got told by enough customers that, like, hey, I'm buying your sheets, one, because they're amazing, but two, because they're sustainable. And you guys using plastic in the packaging, it's antithesis to what you're doing as a company.
Right.
And I said, you know what, you're right. And so it costs us a little bit more money. But we have a nice, nice thick cardboard on the box that is recyclable. but that does prevent any type of internal damage. And then we also have a tissue wrap and a couple other. We have we take upcycled fabric from our warehouse, so fabric that would have been wasted, just like waste fabric, and we create actually these knapsacks that we wrap the sheets with.
I heard about this. Oh, those
yeah,
look cool.
and so that way we can actually wrap the sheets with something that's upcycled, that's useful cloth here, and that way you have like a knapsack that comes with the sheets, which is
and that
great.
would have otherwise just been thrown away.
Right, it would have just been thrown away. And so that's a step in the right direction. But also now we have no plastic in the packaging. And so that my point is that the best way, like my routine, or like what I would say is like the best thing for someone to do, is to very politely, like there's no, like I think that you catch more flies with honey and vinegar, right? Email some of your favorite companies, say, hey, I don't want you guys to use plastic in the packaging. I ordered this from you. It had too much packaging, or you say, hey, are you coming out with more sustainable options? Create the consumer demand, because when that customer service team gets enough emails, it shows a pattern of people want this. That's when they forward it to the marketing team. When the marketing team gets a hold of it, that's when the product team gets a hold of it. It's after the marketing team does. So I would say best thing you can do is to very politely and frequently ask companies to change some of their habits. And then what ends up happening is you have, maybe the 50 people, right, that emailed us and told us about plastic and packaging are now responsible for tens of thousands of packages that have shipped without single-use plastic in them. And so that's kind of what I would say is the best thing to do, is to be strategic about it and go about this in a really good way. And then secondarily, it's also just about being a conscious consumer and what you're buying off the shelf. So for example, if you go to a store and you're buying a bunch of stuff with single-use plastics, or if you're actually opting for things that have biodegradable packaging, or things that have, maybe reclaimed plastic packaging, whatever it might be, you're going to support companies that are making those decisions. And let me tell you, like, these are not cheap decisions. Like, these are, multi-$100,000 bets at minimum that companies are making at a time. And for larger companies that have larger distribution chains, you're talking about multi-million-dollar bets that they're making at any one given point in time. And so you want to reward good behavior, not necessarily punish bad behavior in a sense, as far as, be rude or crude to companies that aren't doing these things, because everybody has their reasons as to why they're doing one form of business or another, but ask them to change. And so those are my biggest things. And then also from a personal level, you can go to Amazon when you buy something. If you go to settings and you reach out to them and you do a support request, you can request that all of your orders come with plastic-free packaging.
Really?
Yeah. So if you Google how to make my Amazon orders plastic-free packaging, they will, if you ask them, they will honor your request, put a note on your account, and then when they pack things in the warehouse, it will only come in cardboard with none of the plastic bubbles and single-use plastic.
That's amazing. I had no idea.
Yeah, so more and more people should do that. And then on another level, another plug. Sorry, I guess I have a lot of little things.
Yeah,
you
lots
can
of life hacks.
Amazon. I like Amazon. They're they get a lot of hate, and deservedly so. They do a lot of good things. They should get some praise, deservedly so. One of the things that they do is if you go on smile.amazon.com, do all your shopping. If you ever buy anything from Amazon, always buy it from smile.amazon.com. They donate 0.5% of your order value to the charity of your choice, any charity. Like, you literally just plug in any charity and they'll send them the money. And it doesn't come from the business that's selling the product on Amazon. It doesn't come from you. It just comes from Amazon's 0.5% of the revenue. So if everybody did that, if you go look up the amount of revenue that Amazon made on their retail operations last year, 0.5% of that would be an extraordinary amount of money donated to charity if everybody shopped on smile.amazon.com.
Absolutely. I'm just going to go to the website here because I think I remember seeing how much they...
Well, look, but not just Amazon's revenue, because they have AWS and a bunch of other really fantastic divisions. But if you look up Amazon retail revenue, it'll be the retail division. And that's the one that you can donate 0.5% of your order on if you do smile.amazon.com when you're ordering whatever it is that you order on Amazon.
Yeah, it's such a great way to do it, and so easy. Like you said, it doesn't actually change anything about your order. It's
No,
just Amazon. I'm on their website, but for some reason I can't. I thought I
no, it's
saw
literally
this before.
if
Yeah,
you if you think about every $1 million of revenue that Amazon
yeah,
makes, you'd be looking at you could do $5,000 donated to charity, which is
yeah. It's amazing.
extremely meaningful to food pantries and animal shelters and environmental charities and
Yeah,
so yeah.
great reminder. I've shopped on Amazon or smile.amazon.com a handful of times, but somehow I just that should be like, you should make a bookmark. Just so you always go there.
Final thing is that if there are any business owners in the audience that are like to have teams of people that they work with, what I would recommend that you do is there's a company that we use. Shout out to a company called Zestful, like zest, like lemon zest, full.
If you will.
And yeah, if you will, zestful.com. And it's more of like a corporate perks program. So like, we use it for other stuff too. Like you can say, oh, you get to spend $50 a month on food, $100 a month on,
Hmm.
whatever. But we also do, I think it's $25 or $50 a month. I think it's $25 a month that we do through them, where employees are able to donate to any charity that they want on the company. So we pay for that. So we
Wow.
also, for all of our employees, they get $25 a month per employee to donate to different charities. They can set it differently every month, set it
Oh,
recurring
that's
for one
cool.
charity. So, it's also, I think, again, more on the business side of what you can accomplish if you, I think, set things up from the get-go to make an impact. And, versus like having a corporate social responsibility department or like trying to figure out how you're going to spend your proceeds every year.
Yeah.
I love the fact that we don't plant trees unless we make sales. We can't donate sheet sets, which are the number 2 most requested item at homeless shelters, unless we sell enough units to have them to spare and donate.
Hmm.
And we don't, we actually we're a pledge 1% company, which means that we also 1% of our equity is pledged towards local Colorado charities. And so if we end up selling the company for a successful exit amount, 1% of that actually will go right to Colorado charities of our choosing. Um,
Wow.
and so it's also baked into our eventual success as a company. If we get acquired or we IPO or whatever it is, 1% of that will go. Like, I don't know if you're familiar with SendGrid. Big company
No,
just
no.
got bought by Twilio for billions of dollars.
Wow.
They were a pledge 1% company, and 1% of a multi-billion-dollar acquisition,
It's pretty good.
extremely meaningful for Colorado charities. Yeah, they were a Colorado company. So
Oh, that's awesome.
yeah.
Wow. Lots of great tips there. Thank you for that.
Yeah, sorry, that was just a lot. What's the one thing you do? Donate 1% of your equity. Like you say,
Yeah.
it's like take fast showers. No, there's a bunch of stuff. So
Yeah, no, I think you're absolutely right. It is important to make these kind of decisions on a day-to-day basis, like save water or,
yeah,
turn off the lights. That's helpful, certainly. I think um, ultimately the decisions that we make on a day-to-day basis in terms of what we buy, I agree with you
it's the
100%.
consuming. We're Americans from the time that we're old enough to speak. We
Yeah,
consume, right? Like you consume media. You go to Disney World, you give you Mickey Mouse dollars for you to buy your food with. Like you're ever since you're a little kid, you're just trained to consume.
absolutely.
And so we're really, 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 really good consumers. Um, and if you don't have to necessarily change um, that, like you can still be a consumer, and you can still have things that you enjoy and that you love. Like our sheets are, shameless plug, they're the best sheets you'll ever sleep on. They're fantastic. Like they're I fell in love with this product
I'm
from day
sold.
one. They're the best. But you can have better things that are also sustainable, or
Absolutely.
you can just and hot tip for everybody, like don't buy polyester. Like stay away from polyester. Microplastics are going to kill us all. Like maybe, we don't know. Like we're
Yeah.
kind of just figuring out what the long-term results of microplastics in oceans are. But yeah, stay away from polyester, stay away from oil-based synthetics. And yeah.
Awesome. Yeah, I think that's really helpful. And finally, so you mentioned that you have I think this was before we started recording, that there's you're going to be doing a big launch in about a week. We'll probably publish this after the launch. So
Oh, cool.
um, what can people expect? Well, by the time they're listening, this will be part of the.
Can you pass me a comforter? I'll show you. So basically, we are launching, as my team member passing me this, we are launching a
Oh,
comforter,
that looks
which is
cozy.
absolutely enormous. And look at this.
Perfect for
Like,
the Denver freeze.
it's incredible. And so this guy is one of the things I'm most excited about, because it's 100% Eucalyptus Lyocell on the shell. So it's extremely, like, it's the softest thing you'll ever touch. And it's super fluffy as well. And that fluffiness is from the internal fiber and the filling, which is 50% raw Eucalyptus Lyocell fiber, which is extremely breathable. So for hot sleepers, it's not going to smother you. It's gonna go through. And then it's 50% thermally bonded with the lyocell recycled polyester. So basically, we take plastic bottles that have been discarded, we buy them, we recycle them, we turn them into that shredded poly filling, and that actually holds heat very well. So between the thermally bonded lyocell and then the recycled reclaimed polyester from plastic bottles that were thrown away that would have wound up in a landfill otherwise, we wind up having an incredibly sustainable, both breathable and warm comforter that's super, super, super lightweight, but also really fluffy. And it's the best thing I think that we've ever built.
That's
And
awesome.
yeah, I'm just really, really excited about it. And we launched that end of February. So if this is in March when somebody's listening to this, it's live. And you just search for Sheets and Giggles, Eucalyptus Comforter, Sheets and Giggles.
And
Or
what's the website
sheets.
where people can go to check it out and buy it?
It is sheetsgiggles.com. And if you want to go straight for the comforter, it is sheetsgiggles.com/C. The sheets are sheetsgiggles.com/S. But I'm in love with this thing. And so we're actually going to do a fun, because we're really, we're an absurd brand. Like we do a lot of ridiculous photo shoots. And so we're actually, we're going to do some fun stuff this week. So maybe people listening to this will be able to see it if we get on the website in time. But we're going to be taking this to yoga classes, spin classes, other things. It's going to be like kind of like,
sounds like fun.
You never want to, if you can't leave your bed, take it with you type of messaging. So
that's awesome.
What
does Harvey think?
Harvey? I don't know. What does Harvey think? Harvey, come here, bud. Where is he?
Harvey is your.
He's my. Oh, geez. Hang on. It's okay. Harvey, come here. Come on, bud. Harvey's my mascot. Or our mascot. So you go on our website and you go to.
Oh, there he is.
sheetsgiggles.com/Harvey. You will see my dog Harvey. He's kind of our main star. He's in a lot of our photos. He's a very good model. He's a very cheap model. That's why I love him. He's got a very affordable retainer.
He also does. He has a good model face.
Oh, thank you. Takes it from his father. So he's kind of one of those dogs just kind of trusts you completely because he's a very good boy. There's no reason not to trust you. And I got him at a shelter about 3 years ago now, 3 or 4 years ago, and he's just been so great for us. We put a little bathrobe on him. He loves sleeping. He's half Dachshund, half Jack Russell, and when he do photo shoots for S&G, he's out like a light, and so he loves it.
Perfect.
Yeah,
makes it really easy.
Yeah. Oh, he's falling asleep right now. Literally, he's just literally going to bed. So, yeah.
Just too much work.
Yeah, too much. Yeah, all in a day's work.
Yeah. Awesome, Colin. Well, thank you so much for your time. I really enjoyed the talk. It's I love the work you're doing. I love how you're, like you said, you're baking in all of this sustainability into the whole thing without trying to say the word DNA. Plus, as a fellow pun lover, it's just amazing. So
thanks, man. I appreciate it.
I love the work you're doing, and I think just best of luck with the launch of the comforter and with getting up and running in Alabama too.
Yeah, it's gonna be fun. It's gonna be a fun adventure this year. 2020 is gonna be a big year for us. So we say foresights 2020. So
yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Well, and thanks so much, Dan. I appreciate you having me on the podcast, and hopefully this was a fun episode for people.
Yeah, absolutely. My pleasure. Thank you. Thanks very much for listening to this episode. I hope you enjoyed it. It was really cool to talk to Colin and hear all the work that he's doing. So if you want to check out the website, if you want to buy their sheets and comforters, they also have pillows and all other types of bedding and blankets and things. You can go to sheetsgiggles.com and you can follow them on social media at sheetsgiggles. If you enjoyed the episode, give us a 5-star review on your podcast listening thing of choice. And also, if you're watching this on YouTube, hit subscribe. And if you want to share this with your friends so they can learn about some of the cool projects that sustainability champions around the world are working on to heal our planet. So thank you very much. And also our social media is at Sustainability Matters Today. So thank you again and talk to you soon.